The city is burning, but our boy is having an internal monologue, wondering if history is going to remember him as the loyal knight who stuck by his emperor till the end, or as a complete dumbass who backed the wrong horse. And the funny thing is that he's not vibing with either option. This is Cyan, the Imperial Guard who served under an emperor that went full psycho and made a deal with a demon, meaning our boy picked the worst boss ever. And he's thinking it would have been better if everyone just forgot about him entirely. But nah, fate had other plans. Cut to this dude absolutely losing his over Cyan's body, screaming at him and calling him an idiot. This is Regressed, the rebel leader, and he's not happy, crying his eyes out and asking why Cyan turned his blade at the last second like, "Bro, you could have just run away. Why did you do this?" He's shaking Cyan's corpse, yelling, "Open your eyes, you bastard." But our boy's already checked out. The lights are off. Nobody's home. Now Cyan's walking through this trippy afterlife that looks like someone spilled a Van Gogh painting everywhere. And he's like, so this is death. This is freedom. Walking forever in a screensaver. Weak. But hey, at least Halo cried for him, so that felt kind of nice. And he's thinking he'll just enjoy this so-called freedom, when suddenly this blue glowing orb comes flying at his face and goes straight into his eyeball. Next thing he knows, he's opening his eyes, and there's this old dude who looks suspiciously like Halo, except ancient and wrinkly, saying he was born healthy and calling him Cyan. As the old man asks his father if he wants to hold the baby. And they're all going on about how he's not even crying and what a strong boy he is. Meanwhile, Cyan's brain is lagging hard trying to process what's happening. And then it hits him. Oh, this is Halo, just old as hell. And that's when baby Cyan starts bawling because bro just realized he got reincarnated as his best friend's grandson, making Halo think he made the baby cry by accident. But nah, Cyan's just having an existential crisis in diaper form. Fast forward and we're in a history lesson where the professor's going on about how the noble knight Cyan, who died 45 years ago alongside the emperor, is remembered as a symbol of unwavering loyalty. And sitting there listening to all this is 10-year-old Cyan, and he is not having it. The professor's like, your grandfather Duke Hollow probably just wanted to restore his friend's honor, you know, since they were besties and all. And Cyan straight up goes, nah, I think grandpa's holding a grudge and deliberately making his dead friend look like a hero just to mess with him. Which gives the professor a priceless expression. Cyan explains that Halo can't accept that Kim wanted a quiet death, not to be turned into some legendary hero that he just wanted to peace out, but now he's getting the full propaganda treatment. Hearing this theory, the professor's sweating bullets because a 10-year-old just casually dropped the most controversial historical take ever. And he's like, if I agree with you, the Duke's Knights might literally kill me for blasphemy. So, I've never considered that perspective before. Cyan laughs and says he's kidding. But yeah, he's been reborn as Regressed, third son of Halo's youngest kid, Count Pale, and he is pissed that Halo turned him into a hero when he specifically wanted the opposite. Speaking of his dad, we cut to Pale kneeling and praying. This man is the sweetest thing ever. He never awakened any magic powers. So, he's worried sick that he passed that burden onto his son, and Cyan puts his hand on his shoulder and tells him he's the greatest father ever. And Pale just melts, hugging him and pinching his cheeks. Then asks what Cyan wants for dinner. And of course, our boy says, meat. That night, Cyan's lying in bed, thinking about the upcoming awakening ceremony, and he remembers Hilo explaining it to him and how not everyone awakens. And even if you do, it doesn't guarantee you'll become head of the family. Plus, there's some mysterious secret only the family head knows about. Young Cyan asked if it was treasure or a grimoire, acting all uninterested, but clearly curious, and Halo promised to tell him the secret if he became head. To which Cyan said he'd rather just live quietly somewhere remote, but Cyan's already awakened his magic. The blue aura starts glowing around him, and he thinks, Dad, don't worry. I got this handled. Turning out he's been awakened for a while now. He just hasn't told anyone. The next day, the family's heading to the capital, and our boy is all excited to get on a train. His mother told him how the commercialization of the train was only possible because of his father. She is winking at him, saying how he is truly amazing. And even Cyan is surprised, thinking how even though Pale doesn't know how to use mana, he is still amazing in other ways. He funded the train and other magical and contributes to 30% of the Duke's income. though he quickly forgets about it all and starts geeking out because it's his first time on one. As they're riding, Cyan spots the Reston family's main estate, the Azure Sea Fortress, and he gets this evil little smile. He's thinking about how he's going to see his grandfather again, his old friend Halo, and how Halo turned him into this great historical figure. But Cyan's got plans. He's going to become the opposite of everything Halo built up, going to make sure all those worries were for nothing and become somebody completely unbefitting of the family name. Our boy is about to speedrun the family disappointment route. And honestly, after getting turned into a propaganda poster child against his will, I don't blame him. He tells his old friend to wait for him because his precious grandson is coming. The scene shifts and the train pulls into the station, and this old dude named Henrik welcomes them, doing the whole formal greeting thing with Pale and Con, immediately clocks the night standing around, and he's already getting the look because they can sense he's awakened his mana, and he's like, these guys are way different from the scrubs back home, actually competent, figuring it's only a matter before Hyla finds out, but whatever, not like he cares. They head to the main palace, and this lady shows Cyan to a reception room, telling him to wait there while his dad meets with the family elders. And Cyan's looking around thinking, damn, this is just a reception room, and it's already massive. This fortress is insane. Already getting bored and maybe regretting not asking to go to the library instead. Then some kid starts laughing at him from across the room, saying, going to the library as soon as you arrive. Just like the rumors, total bookworm. And Cyan turns around like, who is this guy? As the kid keeps going, saying, since Cyan's father never awakened magic, his chances are slim too. So he better study hard if he wants to make money like the commoners, just like his dad. Topping it off by mocking Cyan's haircut. Then this bastard made a mistake that he shouldn't have, and asked our boy if he wants to fight. This little was all too confident in his magic power, saying that today he'll teach our boy a lesson. At which point, Cyan just glares and asks if the main family is raising a delinquent or something. The kid's confidence is crumbling as he realizes Cyan's releasing his aura, making him stammer. What, when did you awaken? Your dad never said anything. Con tells him. His dad doesn't even know yet, and more importantly, there's no room for two delinquents in this house. I'm taking that role, so step aside. And as the kid is confused, meanwhile, our boy goes, that settled it. It's time for you to finally get a beating. Cut to the elders meeting where they're discussing how Cyan awakened, and 3 captains already confirmed it, with Raphael, the second prince, being all suspicious and asking what Pale's plotting, to which Pale replies, bro, I didn't even know. While the first son tells Raphael to chill with the conspiracy theories, since Pale never awakened magic himself, causing Raphael to call him pathetic until this guy bursts into the room, telling Heinrich he needs to come quick, which makes Raphael storm off following the butler after everyone's confused, only to find Leo absolutely wrecked, sprawled on the couch, looking like he went 12 rounds with Mike Tyson. Seeing his son all messed up, Raphael loses it, and then this bastard grabs our boy by the collar and screams about manners and what the hell he was thinking, while Pale tries to intervene, but Cyan calmly explains that Leo was insulting my father and there's no way I'd just stand by, leading Raphael to call it nonsense until Pale grabs his shoulder, telling him that's enough. And Raphael snaps at Pale, saying it's all because of his poor upbringing that Cyan's acting out, only for Henrik to drop the bomb. The Duke himself will pass judgment, causing everyone to freeze as they head to Halo's study. With Raphael still fuming inside, Halo asks why Cyan caused such a massive incident the moment he arrived. Pale tries to explain, but Halo shuts him down, saying, I wasn't asking you, and says he wanted to hear it directly from Cyan, though he adds that Palin raised him correctly, and that there is no way that he'd do something like this without a reason, so there must be an explanation. Seeing that Halo is actually giving him a chance to explain before punishment, our boy is all surprised as he thinks acting generous doesn't suit you, you bastard, and tells him straight up Leo insulted his father, causing Raphael to call him a liar until Halo slams the desk, yelling at Raphael to shut up, demanding, how dare you raise your voice? Which makes Raphael immediately back down, apologizing. But Halo says they'll bring Leo in to confirm the facts. Then turns back to Cyan, saying, that's not the only thing I wanted to ask you. And Con casually drops it. if you're asking about my magic power, I awakened it 3 years ago, making the entire room go silent as everyone's jaws hit the floor. And Hello asks why he kept it hidden, especially from his own father, calling it insane for a kid to awaken on his own 3 years ago. To which Karen says he only realized it was magic power after reading about it in a book later. And once he figured it out, he decided keeping it secret was best. When Halo asks why, Karen hits him with the most unhinged answer. Having a secret is fun. And it was even more fun because the knights in our territory had no idea either, revealing this kid's literally been trolling everyone for 3 years just for laughs. The butler brings in Leo wrapped up like a mummy. Hilo asks if he really insulted his uncle. And Leo hesitates. But Karen immediately puts on this performance, saying even though his cousin made fun of his father, he still shouldn't have hit him, and he's committed a sin, which terrifies Leo, who then has a full PTSD flashback upon remembering Khan's aura and just goes, "Yes, it's true," causing Halo to say he'll postpone punishment for both of them until after the awakening ceremony tomorrow and dismisses everyone. Once they're alone, Hilo asks Heinrich what he thinks of Pale's son. Heinrich says he's not sure, but there were definitely many interesting aspects which Halo agrees with, noting that not only did Karen awaken on his own and hide it for years, but he seemed to be questioning the skill level of the knights assigned to his father's territory, subtly pointing out that by assigning such weak knights, Halo was neglecting them. Henrik says he's overthinking it, but Halo's like, "I wish that were the case. This child is different." Determined to find out what's special about Karen tomorrow during the ceremony, because just awakening magic power doesn't tell the whole story, and whether Khan completes the ceremony safely or not, and what he'll obtain there. Halo's extremely curious. Then the scene shifts, and we are shown this altar deep inside a forest that I'm guessing is where the ceremony is going to be held. So it's nighttime, and our boy Karen's getting escorted through the forest by literally the entire family lineup. Karen's looking around thinking, damn, they really called everyone for this. We're talking about the retired grandpass who could probably still kick ass. Tails, his daughter Lean, Raphael, and his son Leo. The whole squad's here, making Karen realize this ceremony might be a bigger deal than he thought. They finally reach this altar with some mysterious stone. And Karen's like, "So that's the Stone of Oath. Ha." Grandpa Halo steps up all serious and explains that when Karen steps through the rift, this stone creates. She's going to see some personalized nightmare dimension that's different for everyone, with the goal being to get a weapon from that world and destroy it. Karen nods, saying she's ready, and Halo raises this amulet like he's about to summon Exodia. The moment that amulet connects with the Stone of Oath, reality starts glitching out with space and time literally tearing apart. The pressure is so intense, everyone's bracing themselves, and Halo's asking Karen if he's scared, while Pale looks worried as hell. But Karen just shrugs it off, saying he'll be right back after all. Destroying stuff has always been his specialty. As he walks into this dimensional rift, Hilo gives him one last piece of advice and yells out to our boy, telling him to overcome his fear. Karen steps through the portal, and guess what he sees? Of all the possible scenarios, he's back as his old self, Kane, the Emperor's lapdog, on the day of the revolution. And Karen's immediately pissed, thinking, of course, this is what it shows me. Out of all my memories, it had to be this guilt trip as the stones, basically throwing his dead comrades in his face, making him relive the worst day of his life. As he's walking toward the throne room, this creepy-ass voice starts echoing around, calling him child of the Blue Wolves and going on about some ancient covenant with his ancestors. Karen's like, great. Is this a demon? But the voice is all cryptic, saying, nah bro. Your bloodline's too pure for a regular demon to mess with. Now man up and get to that throne. He pushes through the gates, and there it is. The throne the Emperor was so obsessed with that he literally made a deal with a demon for it. Karen's standing there, realizing that all his comrades die because of whatever's sitting on that throne, and it feels like he's walking over their corpses just to reach it. The voice keeps rambling about how Karen, blessed by the cold North Sea, has finally arrived, and on behalf of the Blue Clan, welcome home and all that jazz. Then Karen sees it, his old sword from when he was Kane, the one the Emperor gave him, which is called Ruin. And surprise, surprise, it's a demonic sword, and the voice tells him to pump some mana into it. But Karen's immediately like, yeah, no thanks. That sword literally eats people's souls. But the voice insists, saying Karen's grandfather already purified it, and what he's seeing is just a demonic illusion trying to scare him. Though Karen's still hesitant because touching that sword might bring back all those memories of blindly following the Emperor's orders until he remembers his grandfather telling him to overcome his fear. And it clicks. Oh, so that's why Grandpa was being so nice about this, realizing the ceremony isn't just about getting a cool weapon. It's therapy disguised as a weapon trial where the family hair needs to face their deepest fear head-on. So Karen grabs the sword, saying, "All right, if that's what this is about, let's get it over with." And the second he channels his mana into it, he gets yeeted to the bottom of the ocean where he's floating like, "Is this the azure clarity?" and watches as the sword transforms from this evil-looking demonic blade into something pure, making Khan realize this isn't just any sword. It's the original sword of his ancestor Rael. His grandfather also has a progenitor's sword, but this one's so powerful and different from the family's usual style that it was literally erased from history books. Then the sword starts going ham and Karen feels this overwhelming power surge through his body, barely holding it together, and asking what the hell is happening. To which the voice is like, "Just endure it, bro. The sword's engraving its mana into you." And Karen's thinking, this is the most intense power-up he's ever felt. Finally asking, "Okay, what's this sword's actual name?" The voice gets all dramatic, explaining that this is a sword made specifically to kill demons and devour their powers. So much so that demons were terrified of it and erased it from their own memories. Born from the deep dark, pure seas of the north. Its true name is the guillotine, the execution sword. Karan's staring at this blade, and the voice continues, saying it matches his destiny, perfectly dark like the deep sea. Karen's curious now and asks who this voice even is, guessing it might be the blue dragon, their family's guardian. But the voice pulls a "you're not worthy of knowing my true name yet" card, telling him if he ever gets strong enough to dominate the seas, he can find them in the North Sea, leaving Karen slightly annoyed, but focused on bigger concerns like how does he get out of here. The voice is like, "You already know." And Karen grins, realizing he just has to break the throne, saying he's always wanted to destroy that thing anyway. And he channels his mana into the guillotine and swings down with everything he's got. Back outside, the tension's thick. Halo notices Pale looking stressed and tells him to chill out. But Pale apologizes, saying it's hard watching his son go through something he never experienced himself, prompting Hilo to give him some wise father advice about composing himself. And Pale smiles, but then the Stone of Oath starts glowing again. Except this time it's not just opening, it's breaking. Halo's shocked as reality starts distorting again. The forest is pulsating with energy and the entire altar begins crumbling. Halo's screaming, "What the hell is going on?" And then through all the chaos, Khan just casually walks out holding his new sword like he didn't just destroy a pocket dimension with everyone staring at him. Then looking around for the Stone of Oath, which is just gone because our boy really said pass the trial and break the trial because why not? So everyone's just standing there absolutely shook trying to figure out what the hell just happened with Pale having a full-blown panic attack screaming at Karen like, "Bro, what did you do? Why'd you break the stone?" And Karan's freaking out too, because honestly he has no idea what he just unleashed. Meanwhile, Halo's staring at this weapon that just appeared and his face goes completely pale as he whispers, "That's the guillotine." He is thinking how no one knows about that sword because it has basically been erased in the annals of history, like some Harry Potter Voldemort-level scrub from history, with only the family head and the elders knowing the story by word of mouth. Making Halo wonder why the actual hell is this legendary forbidden sword just casually showing up right now. He turns to Karen asking if maybe he's scared of the sword, but then gets this weird look on his face and mutters something about the Covenant approaching. Karan looks down at this ancient death blade at his feet and just goes, "Nah, I'm good." And Halo's like, "All right then." After that, he starts explaining how way back in the day, their ancestors made this pact with a blue dragon to wipe out all the demons, but they completely failed. So, they left behind this Stone of Oath as proof they tried, basically passing the responsibility to future generations. And now it looks like Karan's the poor bastard who has to finish what they started. Halo raises his hand all dramatically and declares that Khan, son of Pale, is officially a legit member of the fortress, chosen by the guillotine itself, and worthy of learning the Spirit C style, which sounds cool until you remember this is basically a congratulations. You're drafted into an ancient blood feud situation. Raphael is standing off to the side, still absolutely pissed about his son's tragedy of a haircut, muttering that he can't believe some brat is getting this honor, while Tails is way more chill about it, just curious about the sword itself. While everyone's talking, Pale's comforting Karen, saying he thought he knew every weapon in their family arsenal, but has never even heard of this thing. And just looking at it gives him the creeps. He admits that his son is walking a path he could never handle himself. But he's not about to let family drama get in the way of success, and Hilo announces the awakening ceremony is over, and it's time to bounce. As they're leaving, Raphael loses it and starts yelling at his brother, Tails, asking if he's seriously just going to stand there and let this happen. And Tails says they need to have a private chat soon, adding that even someone as greedy and ambitious as Raphael should be feeling how serious this situation is, leading them to ask if Tails knew about the sword, to which he replies, nope. First time seeing it, causing Raphael to have an existential crisis going. I don't understand why it's Pal's son of all people. Pale's trying to be the voice of reason, saying this isn't the time for family and fighting. And cut to the next day at the train station, where Pal's being a worried dad, asking Khan if he'll really be okay staying at the fortress alone, to which Heinrich replies, dude, is there anywhere safer than the fortress? Pale admits that's true. It's safe from outside threats, but what he's worried about are the threats inside, meaning his backstabbing brothers, though he doubts they try anything too crazy with his father there. Henry clears his throat and drops the news that the person assigned to teach Karen the Spirit C style is none other than Lady Sabina. Hearing that name, Pale's face lights up, saying he hasn't seen his aunt in forever. But if it's her teaching Karen, he can relax, and Karen recognizes the name immediately. She's Halo's sister, a master just as skilled as he is, who used to be called the White Wolf back in the day. Pale tells him that his aunt has always spoiled him rotten, so he better not disrespect her, and Karen promises he'll do his best. Hamrick adds that the family head is preparing a residence for Pale in the fortress so he can visit anytime, causing Pale to start crying like a baby, saying he's so grateful to his father. And Hamrich tells him it's no big deal. Pale says his goodbyes, telling Karen to contact him if she ever needs help, and hops back on the train. Karen heads up to the top of the fortress as Heinrich tells him they should get going because Sabine is waiting. To which Karen replies, yeah, can't keep my great-aunt waiting. And Heinrich immediately stops him, offering crucial advice that Sabina absolutely hates being called grandmother. And Karen should avoid that word at all costs. Though Karen thanks him for the heads up while internally thinking, what's wrong with calling a grandmother a grandmother? They enter the fortress and Henry explains that only direct descendants can enter this cultivation chamber. Telling Karen that Sabina is already inside and that Leo's there too, making Karen excited that training with Leo sounds fun, especially since Leo specifically requested to train under Sabina. Karen says he's heading in, and as he runs off, Hamri watches him go, thinking it's going to get lively around here again. Karen stands outside the door and can immediately sense the intense aura coming from inside, thinking, yeah, this is serious. Just then, he hears a voice asking him if he is planning to stand there all day like an idiot instead of coming in. He enters, gives her a respectful bow, and his jaw drops as she asks if he's surprised she doesn't look like he expected, revealing she looks way younger than Halo. Like, this woman does not look like anyone's grandmother. And she casually mentions that he's Pale's son and says time really flies, making Karen's mind race as he thinks she must have reconstructed her body with magic, which is an 8-star night ability, but there's no way, right?